Hey everyone, how are you? It's Friday, Easter weekend Friday. I hope a lot of you have taken it off. I hope you're going to have a great Easter. All right, a lot of people have contacted me and asked about Scott Peterson. I don't know if you know, but when Scott Peterson was going on, I was on Larry King the entire trial on his legal panel. I was the Today Show expert. What else did I do? Gosh, I did other Fox show, Bill O'Reilly, you name it, I pretty much did it. But consistently, I was on Larry King. Eventually, when Michael Jackson came up, besides being on Larry's show, I was also on Greta Van Susteren's. All right, a lot of people ask me about Scott Peterson, so we are going to talk about that. Where I am right now, I'm in what we call the war room before we go to trial. Weeks or months before we start loading into the war room, people in the office know they are not to come in here while I'm working or the attorneys are working, because we need ultimate concentration for our trial. So anyway, that's where I am now. Let's talk about Peterson. I'm going to do this in parts. It's going to take quite a number of segments to explain what happened. Let's start with, how did I get on Larry King's show? I was a district attorney in Alameda County for a long time. I tried a lot of cases. Gosh, I tried well over 40 homicide cases to jury. What happened was during that time, KTVU, Fox, Channel 2 here, not here, but in Oakland, would interview me about the trials, and I got to know the reporters there. One of the reporters, a guy by the name Ted Rowlands, who eventually went on to CNN, was at CNN when Scott Peterson broke. CNN was looking for a lawyer in the Bay Area that could do legal analyzation, I guess, for them. And Ted came to me and asked me if I was interested. I said, yeah, hey, you mean I got to be on Larry King? Man, that took me about a nanosecond to figure out. With that, they sent one of their people up. I had lunch with them in Jack London Square. A day later, they called me back and said, hey, if you want to do it, we want you on Larry King during the Scott Peterson trial. We want you as part of our panel. We want you as the defense expert. Now, guess who they had as the plaintiffs, or not plaintiffs, but the government's expert or legal analyst? None other than your Nancy Grace. I got to tell you, she drove me mashugana. You know, watching her show, and I was even on her show at times, the things she said about that trial were so far off base, it was crazy. That's how I got on Larry King. The reason I remained there, I think, was because every time Nancy and I got on the air together, I was climbing through the camera to get at her, and likewise, she was doing the same to me. I mean, we had world wars on that show about differences in opinion. All right, that's how I got there. Next segment, I'm going to tell you a little bit, maybe a lot, about what happened in the Scott Peterson trial. And keep in mind, at the end of the trial, I was asked by the defense to cross-examine Scott to see if he could withstand cross-examination of the government. We'll talk about that later. Have a great Easter weekend.